It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Falls University head women's wrestling coach, Coach Tony Bryant. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks, Brandon, for having me on.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in your coaching career?
Yeah, I knew I was, coming from the house of a teacher coach. I knew early on that I wanted to explore that option and get an education, and been able to coach the youth level, middle school, high school, collegiate level. So just been able to have opportunities in the coaching ranks that way.
What was it like going to South Dakota State to compete in wrestling?
Yeah, it was back in the late 90s, the NCC days, Division II. So even today, obviously the landscape's changed a little bit with Division I sports at SDSU. It's awesome, the advancements they've made, but back then the NCC was no slouch either. And SDSU, Northern State, Augustana were kind of the hotbeds for graduates looking to pursue collegiate wrestling. So I just had a goal to be a jackrabbit, and was fortunate to wrestle there 3 years. Then had a neck injury, ruptured C7 vertebrae, and then just had an elbow injury as well with surgery. So just had a hard time staying healthy in college, but I still had a great experience.
Of course, what was that like getting to represent them and getting to put on that singlet?
Yeah, it was awesome anytime you can represent your state, and kind of a lot of the giving back and wrestling in with the fan base and people that followed you in high school, and not really go outside the state looking for other options. I knew that I want to stay close enough to home and still wrestle. So South Dakota State was always a good avenue to do so. I was fortunate to be there.
Throughout your collegiate experience, what were some of your biggest accomplishments?
I didn't obviously become an All-American. That was obviously the goal from the forefront, but I won the Cowboy Open in early season, my second year out, and beat the number 8 kid in the country as well in a duel. So, and then the injury set in, and I just couldn't continue on. But I didn't become a conference champ or an All-American, but I obviously gained a lot of experience, a lot of relationships, a lot of good friends still today, and learned in coaching, the other side of it too. Student athlete, things don't go your way, and you work through some different adversities. It helps you build your platform as a coach down the road, and I've used those experiences every single day of my life to this point.
Coming out of college as an athlete, what was it like getting into coaching and coaching as a grad assistant for Northern State University?
Yeah, I was fortunate. Ref my undergrad degree. Coach Tim from Northern State called me up, and went up to Northern, and was able to coach and get experience with that right out of the gate, and finished my master's degree. But at that time also, being young and having a wife and a family, young family, that college coaching really recruiting wasn't a passion of mine at that time. So I was fortunate to get right in the high school ranks, and became a head wrestling coach at Aberdeen Central for 7 years. And so that Northern experience and grad assistantship kind of gave me a taste of the college and just a coaching experience that carries on today. So it's a great place to learn and grow as well. So having both kind of, two major public universities to get my degrees in and serve as a coach, it's been very rewarding.
What was that experience like getting to work on the high school level and coaching high school wrestling?
Yeah, that was obviously probably my sweet spot as far as in my 20s and early 30s, is to gain that experience as a teacher, coach interscholastically, and I learned a ton of lessons, a lot of things what not to do, and obviously made some adjustments, got better as a coach as well. But it was there was a lot of different things that we had to accomplish, even at the high school levels when it comes to recruiting, retention, putting a competitive lineup on the mat, keeping kids healthy. Just a lot of stuff that goes into what it takes to be a coach, and just the layers of administration that head coaches got to work through, and layers of parent expectations and questions, and then obviously just they expect you to be a year-round coach and put time in the summers and open mats, and it's going to become a very big job, and I experienced that early on, and I loved it. It's just after I coached, then I went to administration and saw the other side of it. So,
Of course, during that time of coaching high school, what was that like building your own business and your own program?
well, actually, it was kind of a transition time there. I went from Aberdeen, moved down to Sioux Falls area, become an athletic administrator. During that time, I just saw a need of some of the training mechanisms within wrestling, and so started Metro Wrestling Academy in 2015. We've been doing it for 8 years. And so it's kind of a supplement program. That's kind of where the academy comes from, supporting the local hometowns and their clubs. But so it's just, I missed being around kids. Once you went to administration, you don't get as near as much contact with kids because you're administering programs and the coaches that, they answer and direct to you. So yeah, the academy that I've had has been very rewarding and been very successful. And we've really enjoyed watching the kids through this last 8 years, kind of use our training to catapult them into that middle school, high school level teams. So yeah, it's been great.
How have you used, obviously, the Metro Wrestling Academy to help you to become a college coach?
I don't know if it really helped me. Wrestling community is small in the get-go. We're a pretty close niched group, and the camaraderie and the respect relationships we have with each other. So I don't think it really helped me. It helped me stay sharp in my skills and communication, and transitioning with specific thought patterns and mindset of wrestling. So it kept me sharp as a coach, kept me on the mats, kept me around youth, kept me young. So yeah, that's kind of the thing, that the relationships I got to
glad Alex
the point of being in the college now and be able to kind of hone in on a specific age of kids now, and having the opportunity to coach collegiate athletes now starting next school year is an exciting time.
Of course, what has that transition been like from getting to coach high school men to then getting to coach the female women on the college level?
Yeah, I have 4 daughters, so I've been a high school softball coach during the club years. It's obviously a sanction now. So coach my daughters and their teams. I've got a daughter that wrestles too. The others have kind of, put their foot in the water a little bit with wrestling, but I got one daughter that wrestles and she likes it. So, transition to coaching the females, it's been really rewarding. I really like what they bring to the table as far as like mindset and, really pain tolerance and flexibility and different positions. And they just do a really nice job with kind of right now being part of the fastest growing sport in the nation with girls and women's wrestling. So yeah, it's not a big, like I said, everybody, I want my girls to be treated just like anybody else, no matter gender, whatever. So we treat them just like we would the boys.
How's it been like, obviously, bringing over 25 years of coaching experience over to Sioux Falls?
Yeah, I think I bring a unique set of skills just because I've seen few things down the road, from being a youth coach to coach at the high school level, having some time with the collegiate level, and then being a school administrator or in the Sioux Falls area here for over a decade now, and then still having some experience in the club side of sports too. And it's it's going to help me. It's going to help me build kind of that family and that culture at USF. And it's had to cut my teeth and make a lot of mistakes, and I think that'll work in my advantage here moving forward and building from the ground up.
What was that feeling like for you to get announced to become the next head coach and start your own program?
Yeah, it was exciting. I remember the conversation starting and kind of picking the brain of those that were in that process. And, when things played out and the fit was there and it was going to make sense for the university and the sport and the community and the kids. And it's been just a very huge blessing, and very humbled that I'm able to do that as the first NCAA women's coach in the state. Really, it's only NCAA offering in the state of South Dakota. So I've got 11 girls signed, or 10 girls signed, and one more looking, and probably gonna sign here in the near future. So we're trying to get our lineups close to being filled right now, and I think it'll happen here in the next few weeks. And so, just excited about being in that position and providing that NCAA experience for our kids coming out of high school.
With being the first program in the state and stuff, how has that been like, and how hard has it been to fill your roster along with building this schedule around you?
Yeah, it's not, back in August, September 1, the boots hit the ground. I didn't know where to start. How are you going to connect with the current student athlete? And it's amazing, their handles from Instagram to Twitter to try to get to their head coach and get a phone number and establish relationships and get them on campus, whether it's unofficial or official visits. And so a lot of nights and weekends here the last 5 months, just building connections. And we've got 5 states represented, and out of our 10, we have 5 state champs that have committed to our program between Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota. So we've got a really just mature, even from the classroom standpoint, the high IQ on the mat, off the mat, just a really good set of families and kids to be the first recruiting class and the future first alumni of University of Sioux Falls women's wrestling.
Of course, who are some of those teams that you compete against?
We're working on that. The NSIC basketball schedules just got released internally kind of here about a week and a half ago. Right now, the men's NSIC wrestling schedules are being defined, and there's some kind of chatter amongst the ADs and the wrestling coaches to get on some similar playing fields when it comes to travel and kind of where programs are at. So I'm just waiting for the men's schedule to get done and then I can sit down and look at our women's schedule. We'll stay close these first couple of years. There's plenty of opportunities. Minot State is the other NSIC team that has women's wrestling. Jamestown has a women's program, Morningside, Grandview down in Des Moines, Augsburg up Minneapolis, Colorado Mesa, York College, Simpson College, all within this corridor. Dakota Wesleyan added as well. Dickinson added. So, there's going to be plenty around here to do. It's just a matter of how our conference takes off. I know other NSIC teams that'll be adding. The NCAA just came out with a graphic here on March 3rd that we had to meet over 40 teams in the threshold to become an NCAA national recognized sport next year. And so there'll be summer meetings in July and September 1 sanctioning, so to say, body where the women are going to have their first NCAA championship, like you saw here with the men here this last weekend. And so that's exciting. We were at 43 teams right now. So we met the criteria. You have to have at least 6 rostered athletes and 9 rostered athletes and 6 competitions. So, and that's that within that 43, that's not even counting USF because we're into next year. And then, next school year, and like Frostburg Division II, Fort Hays State Division II just added. So it's the Wild West right now. It's growing fast, and I don't know where it's headed, but we're going to move forward and do our best with our kids.
What is that experience going to be like, getting to compete against some of those Division II teams around the country and around your area?
Yeah, it's going to be no slouch. I mean, you look at the class of 23, 24, and every month it just seems the advancement of the sport and the mat time and the techniques that the girls are putting in, and it's actually a good product. It's actually a good entertainment value to that they're just getting very talented in those areas. So, we'll wrestle anybody from Division III, NAIA, Division II teams. There's only 4 Division I's right now. The Iowa Hawkeyes are coming out next year with their first team, and then Presbyterian and Sacred Heart, and there's one other one that's on the East Coast. But us and the Hawkeyes are pretty much the only 2 in the Midwest. So we're going to be wrestling the best of the best right out of the gate until the numbers come to fruition like you see in the other levels, Division I, Division II, Division III, NCAA teams. So, but we'll have to compete with, the Iowa Hawkeyes and that whole flag in the ground, and they've obviously have a great history of wrestling. But we're up for the challenge and looking forward to it.
Of course, as a head coach, what has it been like obviously seeing different programs and even your program building a women's wrestling program and giving opportunities to female wrestlers out there?
Yeah, they need to be pioneering and reaching out and collaborating, and as us coaches can sit and call them or ask them their story and how they want to advance it, but for them to reach out and get to us and show their passion and their desire to be part of the women's wrestling movement, it's just everybody has their story and has their reasons, and it's just good to hear. It's conversation I'm having is exciting and encouraging that this is something that they want to do and be a student athlete in the sport of wrestling. So it's upon us, it's here, and I don't see it going backwards. It's just going to get better and better.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you're going to be starting to build?
Yeah, first and foremost, we want to get it right on the front side, because if you don't, try to shortcut things and make things, on the backside is not going to be easy. So we really want to build that family unit, really look at their classroom, make sure that they're disciplined in a lot of aspects of their life, and having that championship lifestyle off the mat that brings that into our team, and just the synergy and the vibe, positive vibes, and getting them positioned to be successful. It's going to take a lot of different attributes, a lot of different soft skills, a lot of different hard skills to, be a wrestler and the demands that it takes to do so. But the one thing about it, in any college, you got to be very intelligent. You got to be very organized. You got to be willing to sacrifice, and there's going to be some growing pains and pain and suffering along the way, but we embrace that, and just ready to take them through that journey together.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes that are females looking to get into women's wrestling?
Yeah, every website has a recruiting questionnaire, so get all their data in one spot, and then, have them on campus, check out the match with the academic programs, meet with professors, look at the student life options, whether it's clubs, programs, things outside of the student life balance. And so we're doing that with kids, officially, unofficial visits and luncheons, and getting to know these families in the Midwest. And, it's kind of for them to check out and see. And I just think Sioux Falls and USF's right in a great position, right in the corridor where we can serve Iowa, Minnesota, North Dakota, Wyoming, Nebraska, and our South Dakota folks. So yeah, it's a lot of great things happen at USF right now.
Of course, what does that official visit look like when those prospective student athletes see the Sioux Falls facility and the wrestling facility?
Yeah, we're in the process of getting that built right now, and getting organized with some remodel, and then eventually expansion with a wrestling room. And so yeah, being on campus, checking out the living spaces, to the eatery, the dinery, the Sioux Falls downtown, and the different opportunities that Sioux Falls provides, and then having some time at dinner, some informal conversations, making offers, and have an opportunity to be a school, scholarship athlete at the Division II level. So it's just a lot of just looking for heart, looking for desire, looking for a match that can get them a diploma, and they can be productive graduates and citizens, and give back in a future wife, employee, community leader. So it's just developing the whole child and getting them to be good graduates and represent USF in their professional and the rest of their life.
As a head coach, what is it gonna be like going to see those Sioux Falls wrestlers get to put on that first singlet, that purple singlet?
Yeah, and we're in the process right now of getting feedback on that. Kind of reached out to the 10, 11 recruits at this time.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you cut out. Go ahead. Go again.
What is that feeling gonna feel like to see those freshmen get to put on that first singlet, and then once they're a senior, what is that feeling gonna feel like the last time they get to put it on?
Yeah, I mean, this is brand new for everybody. So these girls are going to develop their story and tell their story. So I can't really talk for them, but being part of other athletes and their journey from beginning to end, it's a pretty special time. I always say it's, team number one. This is the first recruiting class I've had in 23, and team number one is going to set a lot of the future, opportunities for other females, and first, All-American, first conference champ, first everything, and build the wall of fame, so to say, and put some names on the walls and kind of create history.
Looking 5 years later in the future, what is that going to feel like as a head coach to see those players that came in as freshmen and go on to compete professionally, whether it's WWE, AEW, or even nationally?
Yeah, we've got some girls that are already connected with Colorado Springs on the USA Wrestling team and Coach Steiner. So we've got one girl that's already rated, two that are rated nationally that are coming in. So they've already been on Colorado Springs Training Center. And so, yeah, we got some girls most girls will be pursuing Fargo this summer at junior nationals. So, and these girls are representing their states right now, some of the better wrestlers coming out, and they're going to have access to those next level conversations with the Team USA.
What are some of your future plans moving forward in the program?
Get in, build that family, build that culture, create a mindset of belief, and get rid of doubts, and just pour into the kids and the young ladies and get them ready to compete at a high level, get their hand raised. And once you become a state champ or a national champ or All-American, they can never take that away from you. And just like when they get your degree, never take that away from you, and just continue to build that person up and watch others have success.
What advice would you give those high school athletes that are looking to compete in wrestling?
There's no greater sport in the world. The obviously martial art teaches you so much about yourself. There's no excuses. You're under the microscope. Your mistakes are very visible, and you got to get back to the lab, which is our restroom, and get better. Otherwise, you get exposed pretty easy, and there's no timeouts. There's no substitutions. There's no time for woe is me, and I can find the next man up. It's all on you. So those protected student athletes, that's what makes it so great, and great providers for communities and leadership, and having those experiences to build off of.
What advice would you give those freshmen that are entering their first year of college wrestling?
Enjoy the journey.
What advice would you give those female wrestlers that are looking to go play professionally after their collegiate career?
Yeah, I think I answered that already with the USA team.
What advice would you give people that are looking to get into coaching on the female side of college wrestling?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of college openings and the high school openings in the near future. So there'll probably be more professional positions open than there are candidates. So these women that get in and get experience are going to have a lot of different ways to serve and give back after their competing days.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find the Sioux Falls Women's Wrestling Program on social media?
Twitter, USF_WW Wrestling, and we have the same thing with our Instagram and our Facebook. So you can search us USF Women's Wrestling. It should pop up for you.
Thank you again, Coach Toby Bryant, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the head women's wrestling coach for Sioux Falls University.
Thanks, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Toby Bryant, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.